that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down.
You already know what time it is. Welcome back to the SPT Podcast, Sports Pop Talk Radio. I am your host, RC. Follow me on Twitter at RCTweeted, and follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at SPT Podcast. Of course, you can follow the show on YouTube and Facebook at Sports Pop Talk Radio. On to some NFL football, what we call Overreaction Monday. We've seen some great quarterback play from the rookie out of Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, breaking the all-time record for touchdown passes in the first two games of the NFL, throwing for 10 touchdowns. And another quarterback that surprised many people, filling in for Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay, Ryan Fitzpatrick, throwing for 8 touchdowns. And both quarterbacks, of course, getting 2 W's to start the season off, which led to some controversial comments from some past quarterbacks, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Trent Dilfer and Kurt Warner, who will actually be joining the podcast through Twitter. Thanks, guys, for your tweets. You guys can read all the tweets through the @SPT Podcast, as I will be retweeting those tweets, and I will be posting them on the Sports Pop Talk Radio Facebook page for you guys to check out, just to kind of scroll through the conversation as I'm going to go through it here on the pod. But scrolling through Twitter this Monday and ran across a tweet from the Trent Dilfer Super Bowl winning quarterback at Dilfer Dimes, who stated he would be on the herd to discuss the new outrageous rules protecting quarterbacks that are silly and ruining football games, which I felt was a big overreaction due to Patrick Mahomes breaking the first two-game record, as he didn't even break the 2-game record, which was broken in 2014 by Ben Roethlisberger, who threw 12 touchdowns in 2 games. But since Patrick Mahomes did break the first 2-week record, we got some guys like Trent Dilfer and Kurt Warner who were a little bit salty about that, maybe wishing they were able to play under these rules, maybe bitter because Patrick Mahomes has a little bit more talent than they did. And I decided to call him out on it, and decided to tweet to Trent and Kurt that all the old quarterbacks are mad because Pat Mahomes has more arm talent than they did and is going to take down all the records. Then I went on to say, quit crying, football sucks when the great quarterbacks are hurt. Example, last season. Now, we all know last season, quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Andrew Luck, to name a few, were injured and lost for the season. And I feel that really affected the season, as it wasn't a great season, as you can see by the ratings. Many people blame Colin Kaepernick. I think that might have had something to do with it, but I feel the quarterback play with guys like Deshaun Kaiser, Nathan Peterman, just low-level quarterbacks leading teams and not doing a very good job of it. So once Trent Dilfer caught a glimpse of my tweet to him, he actually tweeted me back. And he said, "Prove to me it's safer and quarterbacks are being hit less. I want all these studs to stay healthy, but the overemphasis of protecting them isn't the answer." I was confused because overemphasizing protection seems like a great way to protect quarterbacks. So there, I decided to let Trent know it takes time, but overall we'll be safer because the defensive players will soon understand the new rules and quarterbacks will be injured less. Just like the refs overcalled hitting penalties in the preseason, which was an emphasis even if they didn't understand a penalty call for maybe a helmet to helmet or a leading with the helmet charge, just go ahead and call it so they can review it. And even if the call was wrong in the preseason, they'd be able to get it right in the regular season. And I told Trent, basically that's what they're doing, protecting the quarterbacks this year so they can get it right maybe for the playoffs. Then Trent Dilfert decides to tweet at me, at RC Tweeted. If you say so, let's touch base in 2 years when quarterbacks are still getting hit and hurt. You can't legislate hitting out of a hitting game. You can take collisions out, but not hits. Once again, I was slightly confused and told Trent at DilferDimes on Twitter, I'm down to touch bases about this whenever you like, Trent. And of course, QBs will still get hurt, but less collarbone injuries due to players landing on quarterbacks after hits and players diving at quarterbacks' legs after plays needed to go. Then Kurt Warner chimes in and tweets to me at RC Tweeted. Patrick Mahomes has way more arm talent than me. I'm in awe of it. But I want guys to also have to play the toughest position in sports, more with their mind to be great. This is what I love about the position. Could care less about the numbers and records. The competition is the best part of the position. Now, I tweeted to Kurt Warner. The crazy part about Patrick Mahomes is that you can watch his arm talent and are in awe, but he has it upstairs just as much. You don't think he has used his mind enough in these last 2 games, Kurt? It seems like Kurt was taking a shot at Patrick Mahomes' mental ability. So I decided to let him know, from what I've seen, it seems like he has it upstairs just as much as any other quarterback in the league. Kurt responds back to me, not saying that at all. He's been great. And I'm saying the game is easier with new rules, and the more challenging, the greater performances and the greater accomplishment. This isn't a personal attack on anyone. It's just what I loved about the game when playing. So, next, I tweet back at Kurt. The game is making the proper adjustments that are needed. No need to compare eras. You can see the talent is there. Had Pat played in your era, he'd be taking someone's job doing the same thing. It's just as hard to win a game today as it was before. New rules or not, the game has adjusted to become safer, which was needed. Football was becoming more and more barbaric. The quarterback position is still the most important position, and as you can see, with the late hit Cam took and the hit Eli took, it is still possible to take big hits. So, Kurt Warner then responds to me at RC Tweeted on Twitter. I know, and I'm all for safer. Just saying, it's hard to play defense. Doesn't mean we can't be safe, but we can allow them to tackle and use hands to play the game. That's where I decided to tweet back at Kurt. Tell Jalen Ramsey it's harder to play defense. He doesn't make excuses. He just goes out and gets the job done. Versus Tom Brady, versus Kurt Warner, maybe even versus Pat Mahomes. An adjustment period is needed, but defenses will figure it out and offenses will need to adjust. That's how it works. Kurt Warner then tweets out, I love the NFL, but it's crazy the numbers being put up by quarterbacks and wide receivers due to the fact that defenses can't hit them anymore and can't lay hands on them downfield. Everyone is running free the entire game or it's a penalty. Don't get me wrong, I love offense, but better when it's a fair fight. So I decided to tweet to Kurt. Here you say it's about the competition, but bring up the numbers. Only a few really good quarterbacks are putting up great numbers. And many defenses are playing well, like the Jaguars, Cowboys, and you can include the Bears. Defenses can still hit and dominate. Ask Jalen Ramsey and Jalen Smith. Kurt Warner then tweets at me, "Of course, all great players figure it out. Lesser players are put at a disadvantage. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to agree, but competitive advantage is in offense's favor like never before. That's all it was saying. Defense gets used to failure and hurts competitive balance, in my opinion." That's where I tweet back to Kurt Warner. No defensive players in the NFL, well, maybe Vontae Davis, but that was just a joke, that get used to failure. If they get used to failure, they get cut and another defender replaces them. You're making a lot of excuses for defense when defenses are actually playing well. Just give Fitz and Pat Mahomes credit because they are playing great. Lesser players need to work harder to become better, and they will in the NFL. Just like the catch rule previously hindered offenses for years. That's the way it works. Things change and players adapt. Don't blame Pat M's success on rule change. It's his talent doing the work. And that is where the Twitter debate ended between myself and two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, where they feel Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Fitzpatrick's numbers might be inflated because of the defensive penalty changes in the NFL, where I believe it's just the talent Pat Mahomes has and brains Pat Mahomes has, as well as skills and talents of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let me know what you guys think by following the show on Twitter and Instagram at SPT Podcast. Leave your comments. If you think I'm right, if you think Trent's right, if you think Kurt's right, go ahead and post your comments at Sports Pop Talk Radio on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and I'm out.